Let's do it.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Screw the News. And believe me, screw the news. I want to send out a special thanks to everybody that sent me the emails with your suggestions about what the show should look like, where we should go with it, and what we should do. I really appreciate it. And I want to let you know that we're working on a new set. And it's going to take some time to put it together because of the COVID. We can't get out there and get down to the Home Depot, buy the materials we need. But we'll get it put together, and believe me, we're going to have a new look. And I'd like to send out a very special thank you to Paul Robert Thomas, his new album, Belief. He's been a really good friend of the show, and I want to let him know that I really appreciate you. Well, as you can see, it's bingo night. I'm going to go down to Pacoima, call the bingo for the guys at the VFW Hall. Well, a couple weeks ago, I got to tell you this. I was in a doctor's office to get a barnacle cut off my arm. Doctor said to me, we should cut that thing off and send it out for a biopsy. Whatever. So I'm sitting in there, and who walks in but old Bill from the VFW Hall. Now, this guy's deaf as a post. And I'm trying to get my point across to him about what I'm doing there and what they're going to do. And I finally do, and they call me in and go through the process. And, well, the other night, I'm up there calling the numbers, and who walks in but old Bill? And he's standing way across the room there, and he looks up at me and goes, benign. So I got on the microphone, and I went, benign. And some old duff in the corner yelled, bingo. Well, hell, I had to pay him $25 right out of my pocket because the VFW Hall said, that's your problem there, man. You called the number. Well, anyhow, for those of you first time seeing the show, what we do here is we promote. I'll promote you. You send me your music, your material. I'll promote it to the hilt. The only thing I won't promote is a magician. I have a thing against magicians. And here's the reason why. I had this beautiful girlfriend. Tall, she's about 6 foot tall. She was a high fashion model. And a Swiss girl, a Nordic looking thing. Oh, she's a beautiful girl. And I took her up to the Magic Castle up in Los Angeles, and I'll be damned if the magician didn't pull her up on stage and cut her in half. And then he gave me back the half I had to feed. That's just old Joe Pelvis is telling you there. And, but that's true about that girl. She's a nice girl, beautiful girl. You know what she used to do? She was not only a fashion model, but as side gigs, she would go to Nordstrom. They'd hire her to be a mannequin model, and they'd deck her out in all the latest fashions, and she'd strike a pose, and she'd just stand there for hours, motionless, And I said to her, B, I said, how do you do that? How do you stand like that? Not moving. She goes, I just think of something, and I keep saying to myself, just stay still and it'll be over soon. Just stay still and it'll be over soon. It's a mantra that I repeat out. And I said, really? I said, well, what are you thinking about? And she says, I'd rather not tell you. And I said, come on, B, what are you thinking about when you're saying that mantra? Just be still and it'll be over soon. She said, well, if you really want to know, Pelvis, I'm thinking about having sex with you. That hurt. But I did stay with her, and it just, you know how men are. Well, anyhow, we got a great lineup for you tonight. I've got a friend of mine, girl I met back in 1993, and Kelly Zirbes. And I want you to get a pencil and a piece of paper and take notes, because this girl knows how to promote herself. She is a prolific songwriter, great singer, good guitar player. She's a great guitar player. And she has a great band put together that she's kept together since 1993. And there may be A few comings and going, but I mean, since 1993, Kelly's Lot has been in existence. So, check out all of her information. I'll have everything down below. After the show, check it out. Look at her website, listen to her songs. I mean, this girl knows how to put a song together, and she knows how to put a band together. She owned a car lot right next door to Bartell's Harley Davidson, big lot. A lot of cars on that. Well, like most people, I needed a side gig, keep myself going. So I'd go in there and sell cars once in a while. But when I first started working there was a guy there training me. His name was Paul Holman. Funny guy. I love this guy. Excuse me. One day we're sitting in there, and this man and woman walked on the lot. And Paul says, "Come on, let's go out there. I want to show you something." So we go out there, and he'd been selling cars for a long time, so I think he knew what was going to happen, where it was going to go. So he walks up and he goes, he says, introduce himself. "Hi, my name's Paul." The guy sticks his hand out, didn't say his name or anything, shook Paul's hand. Paul said, this is my trainee, this is Pelvis. I nodded hello to him. The woman's just standing there. And this guy's looking at this car. And he looks over, he looks at the price, and he turns to Paul and he says to him, he said, "Is that your last price on that car? Is that the bottom line?" And Paul says, "Is this your wife?" He points to the woman. He goes, "Yeah." And he says, "Well, why don't you bring her to the office and we'll dick her?" And just like it is now, it was dead silent. And I wanted to laugh so hard, I was busting inside. And the guy said, "What'd you say?" And he says, "Bring her in the office and we'll talk about the price." Well, I knew what he said and I knew what he meant. And he got himself out of that. It was funny. That happened so long ago, and I still remember like it was yesterday. And another thing that happened to me, and I'm proud of this, I was in there by myself one day, and we had I think it was a 63 Thunderbird, nice looking car sitting on the lot. And this tall, lanky white boy walked in. The only reason I'm saying he's white boy is because he pointed it out. Later on, I'll tell you how he pointed it out. And he said, "I'd like to take that car for a drive." I said, "All right." So I grabbed the keys, and we get in, I threw him the keys, and we're driving down this back road, and he looks at me and he said, "You know who John Lee Hooker is?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. I know who John Lee Hooker is." He said, "Well, he's my dad." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, he's not really my dad. He's married to my mom. And, he's like a father to me." And I said, "Well, that's good, man." I said, "That's a good man to have for a dad." He said, "Yeah." And he said, "If you tell John Lee this is a good car for me, he'll buy it from you." And I said, "Well," I said, "send him in. I'll talk to him." And he said, "Well, we're here in L.A. We're shooting a Pepsi commercial downtown Los Angeles." He says, "After we finish shooting tomorrow, maybe we'll come by." I said, "We'll do that. Bring him in." Well, next day I'm in the office, and in comes this big black limousine. And I walk out there, and this boy jumps out of the back seat of that car and walks around and opens the other door. And there's John Lee Hooker. And I walked up there and I said, "John Lee, can I shake your hand?" That big, I mean, it was like somebody handed me a pillow. He had big, softest hands. I said, I truly admire you, John Lee. And he says, "That a good car from a boy?" I said, "I believe it is, John Lee." Yes. He said, "How much you want for it?" And I told him. And he wrote me a check right then and there. That boy drove that car out. And the caveat to that story is, that was in, 63, 64, somewhere around in there. I'm down in Mexico. I'm living in Mexico in 2000-something, 2008 or 9. And I told my wife that story. And I'll be damned, it was on TV. Believe me, I look for it on YouTube to show you people. But there's a documentary out that this white boy did on John Lee Hooker. And there was that kid. And I said, you know that boy I was telling you about? I said, that's him on the TV right there. So I don't know, I can't remember what it's about, but if you find it and you can let me know, I'll show snippets of it on the next program. But if you know what I'm talking about, send me the information and I'll put it up. But let's get back to Kelly. Enough of my story, Kelly's lot. So anyhow, Kelly Zirbes, you there?
Hey, Pelvis.
Hey, Kelly. Hey, Kelly, I got a couple questions I'd like to ask you, okay? Kelly, what year did your band form?
Pelvis. Well, let's see. The band started, our first gig was October of 94. And we'd been rehearsing a little bit before that. I'd been in a band called the Ya-Ya's with the bass player Alex Rylance, and we started Kelly's Lot. So sometime in 94, the band started.
Hey, what gigs did you do in the beginning? I know I went to a lot of them up there in LA. I think I went to the Mint a couple times and some local bars and things like that. And one in Santa Monica, I can't remember but what gigs did you do in the beginning?
So our first gig was actually at the Roxy on Sunset Strip, and we played a lot at the Troubadour, we played a lot at the Mint. We had some great gigs in the beginning and pretty much have kept that way. We've dipped down and played, festivals for 3 people. We played coffee shops. We played every kind of gig. But in the beginning, we really had a lot of great gigs, Pelvis. We were lucky, and we had a lot of good people behind us, and we worked hard at it, and we pushed to get audiences, which is what you do in the beginning. You have to sell tickets, and you have to get your friends out, and so we had some great gigs.
Hey, I remember in the beginning, Perry wasn't in the band. And I remember one day this long, tall, good-looking boy walked on the lot, and you walked off with him, and I think you guys have been together ever since, haven't you? And how did he change the dynamics of the band, too?
Perry, okay, let's see. Perry I met at a place called Harvell's. It's a blues club in Santa Monica. And he ended up producing a CD for us called Live at the Troubadour. And eventually he joined the band, and it was very organic, and he did change the makeup of the band. It became a lot more Southern rock and blues. Even though I had all that in me, he brought a lot more of that to the band, especially the Southern rock, being that he's from Texas. So that's kind of how he changed the makeup of the band.
You know, I know I left the Marina in the year 2000, and how did you guys start touring Europe? How and when did you get those gigs in Europe?
Okay, so you want to know about Europe. Well, first time we went to Europe was in 2008, and we had met a Belgian woman, Muriel, in Texas at a festival that we played at. She liked us so much, she returned to California to see us play in Lake Tahoe. And during that trip, we became fast friends. We told her we wanted to go to Europe. She said she'd help us, and she did. She booked us a gig. We booked a few more. Our first gig was in 2008, and then the following year, and we've played in Europe now at least 10 times. We play a lot with a guy in France named Jean-Francois, Jeff Toto Blues, and he comes to California and plays with us. And it's just great. And then we played in Spain, we played in Switzerland, we played in Germany, and we just play because we meet people. It's a very organic way of touring Europe, and that's how we plan on continuing. We plan on going for, months at a stretch. Before, we only went for a week or 2 weeks. But Europe is going to be exciting for us. We're very excited to get on the road and play more in Europe. So that's kind of our Europe tour. And as far as like selling in Europe, we do great on CD sales. And just like we do here, that's how we sell most of our CDs. And digitally, we sell a lot. We actually do sell a lot digitally from here. I would say it's about equal right now. And we do need to get on the road more and tour the States. We seem to tour Europe more than the States, but that's only because of the opportunity that we've had. So
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Hey, before you go, what advice would you give to people in the independent music industry? What can they do? What can they do, and why? What keeps you going?
So, Pelvis, you want some advice for people just starting out? Well, I would say if you love to play music, you find a way. My number one advice I give to people is to create your own world and then play in it. And that's what I've done. I've met people through the years that have created a world in their state, in their country, so that we can come play. They've helped get the word out about us. They've helped book the gigs. We've worked very hard as well, but we do all of this very organically. And yes, I love doing online gigs. I actually really enjoy it. But I can't wait to get back live after COVID has minimized or gone away. And I do want to do more live gigs, but I love doing the online thing because I know people are there listening, and it's the same thing. I know their hearts and souls are there. I can feel them when I'm online. I can feel them listening, and they tell me how much they enjoy, listening to us online or live. But I'm very excited about going live, and I think live is where it's at. But you have to create that world. You have to create the world you play in a way. Getting an agent or a manager, that's just almost impossible unless you're already out there doing it big time. There's no money in that for them to make money to manage you or to be your booking agent if, people don't know who you are. So you have to kind of get out there, make a name for yourself by meeting people, by playing wherever you can, creating your own world and playing in it. That's just what I've done. And I started when I was 34, so I started late. I'm turning 60 next year, and I'm just getting started, and I can't wait to go full-time music. All right. Well, I hope you all are good. Bye.
All right, Kelly. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to put all your information down below. I hope everybody out there watching get a hold of you. Take a look at your music. Listen to your music and take a look at your website. I deeply appreciate you being on here. All right. I got one more thing I want to tell you. I had a rehearsal studio out in Studio City up there in LA, and I had a landlady that was detrimental to my future. She's alcoholic, poor old thing. Man, that alcohol just tore that old woman up. You can see she's pretty good looking woman when she was younger, but that alcohol, it just tore that woman up. And, as it does, everything on that poor woman started going south on her. One night I'm out there and I'm beating on my guitar trying to put a song together. And she comes walking out there and she's crying. And I said to her, Ray, I said, what's wrong, Ray? And she goes, I just found a tremendous lump under my left breast. And I said, oh my God, Ray. I said, you should get yourself to a doctor, have him check it out. She said, she said, can you take a look and tell me what you think? I said, well, Ray, I'm not in the medical field. I wouldn't, She said, please, just take a look. I said, well, show me where it's at, okay? So she picked her breast up. She said, right under there. And she took my hand and she put it on. And I'm feeling around. I went, holy Jesus. And I looked and I went, well, hell, Ray, that's your kneecap. It wasn't quite that bad, but it was pretty bad. Anyway, let's get on with the show.
Let's do it.
Well, that's our show for today. I want to give a heartfelt thanks to Kelly Zirbes. What a talent, what a talent. And I feel blessed to have been there from the beginning. And I celebrate your growth, and I'm happier than you can imagine for you. Keep it going, girl, just keep it going. And I'd like to point out that I didn't have a regular on tonight. JCB Music, Craig Blaine. I just got all wrapped up in Kelly Zirbes, and I don't regret it What a talent. Damn, I am so impressed. But Greg, hang in there, brother. We'll be back next week. And also, Joe Chambers, the Volt series. They're not a sponsor. I just like mentioning these so you guys can go up. Check out the Bolt series. I mean, you want truth in rock and roll, what really happened behind the scenes and all that? Check out the Bolt series. Fantastic. And of course, the Musicians Hall of Fame down in Nashville. As soon as this is over, old Pelvis is going to plan a road trip down there. Now listen, I want you guys to stay safe, stay healthy, keep creating, and wear the damn mask. Take care. Bye-bye.
Let's do it.